Good afternoon, everyone. The last agreement or contract that we're going to look at is the rental agreement. So this picture really tells you exactly what the rental agreement is about. It's about renting a house or a property or a piece of land. Okay, so when we talk about a rental, the two parties that are involved are the landlord, the person who owns the property, and then the tenant, the person who's going to be using that property. So in rental contracts, there has to be a period of that contract. So you would be renting a house for 6 months or for a year. If you wanted to get out of that contract, in the contract there'll be a clause saying that there needs to be a notice period. How much notice are you going to give the landlord that you're going to be vacating that premise or that property? If it's a 2-year contract or a 5-year contract, so as a business, you don't want to move your retail shop every year. You want to stay in the same premise for a long time. They need to say what increase is going to happen each year in terms of how much rent you'll be paying. Changes can be made to the contract, but it needs to be in consultation. The landlord can't just make changes and give it to you. He needs to warn you that these changes will be coming. There are two laws that govern this, and the first one is the Rental Housing Act as well as the Rental Housing Tribunal. So if there is any dispute or any conflict over the rental agreement, it will go to this tribunal. So with this rental contract, the landlord has to ensure that the property is available on the date agreed. So let's say I signed a contract to say that I would move into number 24 Hutchinson Road on the 1st of September. That property must be ready for the 1st of September. Right? Also, the landlord can't now come and knock on my door every afternoon and see how his house is looking. He's got to ask for my permission to come and visit. Right? He's got to maintain certain aspects of the property. So let's say there are major electrical faults in that property. He would be responsible for restoring that and fixing that, not me, the person who's leasing it from him, the tenant. As a tenant, what do you need to do? You need to pay your rent on time, right? And you need to pay the amount that was stipulated. You also need to take care of the property and use it for the purpose for which it was intended. So if I'm renting that house, okay, I still need to make sure that I look after the windows, and if one breaks, I replace it. Or if a light bulb goes, I need to put a new light bulb in. I can't be phoning the landlord to say, oh, the light bulb is blown. So there's certain basic things that as a tenant you would do. You'd mow the lawn. You must leave or return the property in the condition that you received it in. So a lot of landlords will say you're not allowed to paint the walls. If you do, you need to make sure you return it to white before we end the contract. Okay, so any damage to the property is then taken out of the deposit that you pay when you're securing the use of that property. Right, and as I said earlier, the act or the law that governs the rental agreement is the Rental Housing Act. Okay, so it looks at the relationship between the tenant and the landlord. It defines the rights of both of these parties. It gives that mechanism to resolve disputes, any conflict that may be arising. And again, it protects both the tenant and the landlord. Right, and that's the end of our rental agreement. Hope it makes sense. Have a good day.